Alright, so welcome to the Power Hour flow and chart stream. As always, drop flow requests, chart requests, market questions, whatever you got. Um, Looks like we had a good list of names already to kind of take a peek at here, so we will kind of go through as much flow as possible, ask questions along the way, and let's get started here. So first up, we have a question about the SPY flow. So we did have that nice big 123,697 call from earlier that is making a nice move up now. That's really all I've seen for SPY flow for the most part. Obviously some smaller weekly puts there. Not really a big fan of weeklies right now. Just we're going to have a lot of job data later in the week here, so keep that in mind there, but we good move up on those SPY 697s. See if we got anything else for SPY here too. Let's go in here and kind of filter this up a little bit. Alright, I gotta put a premium on this. Premium. Let's do 50,000. We don't want 0 days. Alright, let's just kind of see what we got here. And I gotta get rid of some of these multi-legs here. 1 second here. Multi-leg. Oops. Alright, let's see what we got. So yeah, I mean, it's a little mixed as we get down here. I'm just kind of doing a quick glance here. If you see something specific that you want me to take a peek at in SPY here, we can take a peek. But yeah, that 697 is the main leader of the day. Really long-term SPY put there, not a lot of volume. Let me just fix up the DTs a little bit too. Stare at a screen all day, you kind of end up missing where some of the stuff is. DT, why am I blind? Here we go. Let's do 150 days. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, you can see a large chunk of that, mostly bullish flow here. And, I mean, you start kind of losing steam in the premiums there. I mean, your heavy premiums are calls there, and that 697 was our big one of the day. I mean, over 20,000 contracts. That is massive, and it's still pumping up there. So UAA daily gap up if we can get some volume here. And Benny, feel free to drop the tickers that you want me to look at in here too as well. I know you had some that you wanted to look at there. And actually, Pipsy, I gotta go back to yours because I see that you had that. Well, I'm gonna go in order, otherwise I'm gonna be all over the place here. Oh, good job, Benny. You're gonna keep us busy. Good job. All right, I'm gonna look at UAA here quick. So 1 second here. Hey, no, that's perfect. Usually half the time I don't get any flow requests, so it's just me kind of looking through the feed. So definitely, please drop them. So UA makes sense on that gap up to today. I mean, you've had a lot of big days of that net call premium spiking here. I want to pop this back 14 days. Yeah, there's a lot of spiking there. And just for context, I'm not the biggest fan of trading names under 10 bucks. They're such slow movers, but let's see if we got any other more flow here. And it looks like, of course, all those net call gaps there would have filled essentially already. So I'd look for maybe a pullback here, and you're not seeing a lot of premium today, but I want to see what we got for contracts here. Let's see what we got. Jeez, my filters are wide open, yeah. So this'll be pretty easy here. So deeper in the money calls here, obviously, I'm anything over 5% in the money, I kind of avoid. Just, I mean, if they exercise those contracts, you won't know until the next day. And I'm not really seeing anything fully ask side on here. These 417.6 calls, though, do look interesting. A lot of it's all ask side here. It's smaller size, though, obviously a little smaller name. Looks like these just, oh, we got some open interest here, so it looks like we had some come back in here on 12:30. So let's just go back. So yeah, most of that looks like it's made a move up there. I just kind of want to look at that volume. So most of that volume carried over, so that whale did hold those. The 180, so 182, so it looks like a small add there. So we had a big chunk on 1-2 here and not a massive change in that open interest. So my guess is some contracts got passed off there, and it looks like yesterday as well too, because 341 traded, only 30 added to that open interest. So my guess is these little spikes that whale's passing off those contracts, and my guess is here if we looked at these tomorrow, that open interest might not have a significant change, even if it's the ask here. Just have to double check that. But looks like that whale was sizing out slowly, so good find on those. But I'm not seeing anything else really with that one. But we can look at UA as well, just to double check there. Oh, really deep in the money. Really deep in the money there. So avoid, avoid. How about these puts here? I mean, smaller, well, good volume. This is definitely an opener today. So 7% out of the money, 45 days, 300 there, 160 there. So my guess is most of that should carry over. Let's just kind of look at the flow though. 4. Yeah, I'm not really seeing much there, and that IV kind of drops from that size there too, and that bid-ask spread is pretty wide on that. I'm not a big fan of that. But yeah, I don't know if I'd want to keep chasing either of the Under Armours there. Alright, so let's see. We're going to do Benny's in order here. So we got AG, so we're going to start with those. Let me just clean up some of these tabs here. So we're going to clean this up. So we had the AG 15.5. Oh, let's see. And then also you can share feedback on my screen, or am I getting too many alerts in the day? No, I'll show. So like this is my flow feed today. There was a lot of flow today. So if you got a lot of flow today and you're like, am I getting too much flow? You're probably fine. I mean, I have two pages of flow. So no, that's about typical. And if you are getting kind of overwhelmed with that flow though too, and you're thinking you're getting a lot, you can always adjust up that premium. So like, oh, it's gonna be messed up for me. I gotta go back. Like if you're like, okay, I'm getting way too much premium here, I'm getting too much flow, like you could pop it up to just higher premium and it'll kind of reduce that feed. I like to see it all, but again, just kind of a preference thing there. Pop this back down. Let's go look at your AG. So it was the one that I'm going to actually take these and put these on a notepad so I don't have to keep looking here. So give me 1 second. I just want to make it easy for me. So give me 1 second here. Let's see. All right. So we are going to do the AG 15.5P, and it is for 130. So this is one that you just had me kind of look at here. So what makes me think these could be possible sells? One, it's related to silver. It's a silver miner. You can just kind of scroll over here. It's going to tell you silver producing silver. I don't want to short metals right now. I would be very cautious shorting metals right now. A lot of volatility. I would position very, very lightly. So with this one, I so here's that original entry. So and this one, let's just pretend this 500 isn't here. So we're just seeing that 5,000. When this came in, it's coming in as a block trade. You don't have that other flow around it to look at. And when I kind of talk about there's no flow around it to look at, that's like the SPY flow here. Let me just show you quick. Like you can see how it's coming in same second here, all that in here. So you have data to kind of look at versus when you look at the AG here, it's all in one chunk. So you can't really see how that flow's reacting with the IV and all that. But this one, you have that trade coming a minute after, and you can see it's still very sizable, and that IV drop. So I didn't like those. That was kind of the example on that one. Let's do BRKR now, and feel free to drop questions. I'll get to them there if you get them. I just don't want to take forever to get through these. I'd like to get through them all. BRKR, and it is the 50p for 116, so 10 days. 6% out of the money, looks good. No multi-leg, definitely an opening trade. You found a good one there. Now let's look at our flow here. So this one, all right, let's take a peek. So 58.99, 58.60. So you see how that IV's dropping here and then it spikes. This is one of those where it's kind of it's a double. I don't like it. I'd rather see that IV increasing. Now if it was at 58.90 and then we didn't have that drop up to that 50. Not where's my math coming? Okay, so 50. So if we didn't have that 58.99 here at all, and we just did 58.60 and moved up into that 59.35, ignore that one too. I'd say it looks a little better, but you see how that IV is just kind of bouncing around and it's not going up or going down. It's just kind of all over the place. Not a super big fan of that, and also that bid-ask spread on this isn't very good, and you're not coming in really at the ask either. You're coming in more on the ask side, but you're not really in at the ask, and that spread was pretty bad at first. So if they are short on these, they're getting them at the ask. I just want to look at the other flow on this. So we got some long dated call or 10-day out calls here, more 10-day out calls there. Those puts that you're looking at. Yeah, I don't get a good feeling about that one either. And you're finding the good opening flow. That's the thing. So you're doing good with that. It's just that IV is kind of all over. And again, just because that IV does rise or it's bouncing around like this, it doesn't mean that the stock's not gonna go down. It's just your rules, and you'll find what works best for you. It's just a lot of screen time kind of getting to learn that there. So let's do the GMLs, and I'll answer your question at the end here too. I see you type it in there. I just don't want to kind of get off track here. So let's do GML, the 14p. GML. You might have to check that one for me. Not getting a GML. GM maybe? No. I'll come back to that one after. We'll do APLD then. APLD 36C for 123. So this one again, good find, no multi-leg, 19% out of the money, not too far. Let's see here. So this is your big whale here, 1700 contract. So we are at 38.84 on the day here. So I would want to double check this open interest tomorrow just to make sure, because you see these kind of candles in here where it's 200, 150. That's going to add up to a significant amount of contracts. So want to double check that open interest there, because these could just be whales sizing out very slowly. But let's look at our flow here, how this looks. Let's come in here. Where is our whale? Alright, look, let's see. Trying to see where that whale came in. So it looks like it started around here. Where is all those 1,000 contracts? So, okay. Looks like it all came in. So that timing is correct. So this one's a little more sporadic where it's not all the same timing. You can still assume it's the same whale because you're, 12:55 for a minute. The timing is very, very similar that entire way up. So this one's a little more tricky to kind of follow just because it's about a 3-minute difference between all of that flow, it looks like. Again, more than likely, educated guess, it's all part of the same trade. But you're not going to really be able to get a good read on the IV or that fill on something like this. It's a good find, though. It's a good find, good example, because you're seeing those little $100 contract or 100 size contracts come in. You just see that timing, how it's not exactly the same there. I just want to go back a page too and just see, so I can be complete. So here's another part of it here. So it looks like here's our main part. So I'm kind of wrong there, it looks like. Or part. So yeah, you can just see how it's kind of sporadically coming in. Like you got your repeated hits here, and again, it's all kind of very similar time, about a 5-minute time span between all of that. But you can see how it's kind of chunks there. You got 2 seconds later, more coming in there, and that IV is just kind of all over the place. Then you got some more repeated hits coming in here. So that IV is rising here, though. And 120, yeah. So when I look at this here, I like this better because you see how that IV is coming up here. That spot also is technically rising because you're at 121 there. If you're at 121 there, it was 119 down there. This one, this is like something that I would probably look at, and I could like if you have a lot of screen time and you're kind of good at reading this is something that's fine. I'm kind of surprised you actually sent me this one because this is something like I'd sit and I'd be like, oh, this is interesting. Let's take a peek at it. But I would say, and obviously hindsight's going to be 2020, but 123 and they're trading at 133 now, so they're up a little bit. But you would want to verify that open interest there. And the candle is mostly ask side there. Again, just kind of one of those ones where you'd want to be a little more cautious on just because it's kind of all not there, if that makes sense. All right, let's do Frog 60 call. Frog 60C for 116. So this one I'm going to say probably right away looks pretty interesting to me. Very low multi-leg, no multi-leg, 1% out of the money. Something I love to see there. So this one. So again, kind of coming in as a block trade, but we have some data after as well too, and we got some decent size here too. I do like to see contracts in front of that typically, just to kind of see how that IV reacts when this trade comes in here, just to see if that IV would have been like 46 and then it jumped up to 49, or if it was like 55 and then dropped to 49. So I like to see that flow kind of before it too. But we do get some clues after on this one, which is helpful because usually you don't. Usually you'll just get kind of some small little contracts like that. But I just want to look at the time here. So 12:35. Then you have, looks like this is all another whale right here. So I like this part here because you can see, again, when that flow comes in, that IV increases all the way up there. Spots coming in pretty much at the ask there. So that's a good sign. These, I would probably lean their buy to open there. So I would say they are buying those. You were only 1% out of the money with 10 days. Let's see what else we got on this one quick. Yeah, I would say I like these because you can see your two big spikes in net call premium the last 2 days. And I know you were asking about this too, about that net call premium talk that I talk about. So essentially, And again, it doesn't always happen, but the theory is that price should catch up to that premium gap at some point. So that would tell me Frog should essentially at some point get back up to this 66 level and fill these gaps, if that kind of makes a little sense there. So that is interesting there. And yeah, you're getting a lot of ask side calls here. Yeah, I would lean with those being buys. That's a good find there, Benny. Good find on those. All right, let's clean this up a little bit. Oops, MT 49C for 116. This one, what do we got? 2000 here, 1800 there. Would double check open interest on this one. Obviously, the candles aren't exactly the same size, but we do have some little spikes here too. I would want to double check this one, but let's look here just to see what we got now. 37, 38. Oh, I like this. This is a good find. Really good find here. Really good find here. Repeated hits, ascending fill. Really good find here. That's pretty textbook right there. That's good where you see that fill coming up here. IV's increasing there. I really like those. Only thing is, just have to check that open interest tomorrow on that. And let's just see if we can get a clue from this one. Let's see. 39.10. I think, and we won't know until tomorrow, I think these might be ads. I really think this volume will carry over, because look at that spike in the IV on the large size there. And again, it's another repeated hits ascending fill, but it's saying it's a descending fill there because we have a drop right there, and it's only on 7 contracts. So it's marking it as a descending fill, but truly it's ascending here. So that is that's a good find. I would just double check that open interest tomorrow. That's a good find. If that open interest carries over, that's a really good find actually. All right, let's do OSCR 20 call for 130. Oops. Jeez. OSCR 20C 130. 19% out of the money. So definitely opening flow today. Definitely opening flow. Alright, let's see. Sorry, I got a text there. I was trying to read it off the side here. So this one, so we got 3,600, so we already had some volume on the day, so I just need to take a peek at that. Okay. So this one, I think, may be another good find here. So Oscar, so spots filling at the ask. That IV spikes when it comes in, 73.61. IV spikes here. So this is what I'm talking about. So you can see how it came in as a block trade, just that big size coming in once. We have flow before it to analyze there. So this is a really good find there. Floor trade just means it's coming from a floor trader's personal account. So good find there. That spot technically increases. So let's come back down here. 74.43. So this is the part where I'm getting a little iffy on it. It's not a massive part of the size here, but you can see from that big size after that IV drops a little bit, and that spot drops technically a little bit as well, and then it rises up again there too. So that IV, just kind of looking at it that whole way. This one would, because then you get another 100 contracts here about 30 seconds later, and some more 100 contracts there. And this is just kind of a screen time thing and a very solid educated guess. You're about 30 seconds in between all this here, and they're pretty big size. I would make a very good guess they are related to each other. But that IV kind of drops here, and it looks like that starts to turn into the bid there. These could be sells at the ask. This one's a little tougher just because you have that nice rise there in the beginning, then you kind of have that drop off in the IV at the end. So it's kind of one of those where it doesn't meet all the rules there. It's interesting though. I want to see if we got anything else on it today. Yeah, so you got a big drop in that net call premium today too. So again, with that net call premium theory, let me see if I can go back. If I find one, I'll show you a good example here. Yeah, this isn't gonna. So okay, like let me go here. So this isn't gonna be the best example, but it'll kind of explain it to you here. So you can see how Oscar was trading up here, and you see lots of bid side calls, and this only works with call premium here. So you can see big drop here. So again, the theory is that price will eventually catch up to that, and you can see price is finally kind of catching up to that gap there, and you can see like how here it closed there. Actually, I'm just gonna switch over to Tesla and show you because Tesla is a good example. So like Tesla was one of ours that we were watching there. So like I think it was the 23rd I posted that, 23rd, 24th. But you can see where Tesla was trading, and you see all those massive outflows of call premium here. So again, essentially, price will catch, and I'm going to move this to the 14 because it's going to make it a little easier to read. So you can see how we got that big drop, and you can see where those lines would be. Price finally caught up and essentially closed that gap, if that makes sense. And again, it doesn't always happen. It's just kind of something to watch. I like to kind of watch it with the big tons of call outflow there, and then you got put flow or a lot of put volume there too. So that's just kind of what I talk about when I'm looking at the net premium gaps. It's the same for gamma. I don't like the gamma gaps as much just because gamma can take a long time to typically do it, but you seem to see a move in these a little quicker than the gamma gaps there. But yeah, the Oscar ones, this one's a little iffy here. I just don't like that ending on that one. All right, let's TVTX. Let's see. TVTX 17.5 for 116. This one I would out of the money 51% for 10 days. I probably wouldn't like these ones, and you are already down almost 7% on the day. Let's see with the flow fee. Yeah, that IV is very high too. So if that IV cools off, those contracts are going to kind of get hurt a little bit too. Yeah, I just don't like chasing after a big move already. So 7, so that's our first contract of the day. 315.33, 15.49. So it reads as a buy for sure. But the thing is, and this just kind of comes with screen time and just kind of understanding the markets and being in it for so long. You're already down 6.5% on the day, and these are, what did I say, 51% out of the money. I would probably bet that these are sells at the ask here. Let's look at our profit calculator just to kind of see how it would look there. So like, okay, tomorrow. Like to even get a 22% gain on these, this has to drop another 9%. That's again more than likely not going to happen after a big move, but again, you never know. And even by what's tomorrow? Wednesday? Thursday. I was trying to do the math on the day there. Even if we're dropped 9%, you're only going to get 9% on those contracts. And even by Friday, if we drop 9%, you're going to be down 13% on those contracts. That's what that IV and that theta kind of works out there. So I'm not a big fan of those ones, especially kind of chasing there. So those were those. Okay, we got 4 left from Benny. Let's see. CCJ 115 call 130. So your scanner is at least picking up good flow. I mean, good opening, solid flow here, which is a good thing. No multi-leg percent, 12% out of the money. Definitely an opening trade. I think I saw these ones earlier too, and I see why I didn't get those. Let's see. 29. So IV spikes when those come in. What time was this? 10:44. 51.66 coming in at the ask. So that IV drops here a little bit at the end too. So that's why I kind of held off on those. I remember kind of seeing these here and I was like, why did I not see these? But you just see how that IV kind of drops. It does rise again at the end, but when that IV kind of fluctuates like that, unless it's going up the entire time, I kind of pass on something like that. And just kind of knowing again, I mean, we were up. I think we were up a little bit more. Yeah, I mean, we're up kind of a decent amount, but you can see again, 129, they're trading at 150 now. Just because that IV and those rules don't match all the time doesn't mean that flow's not going to work out in that whale's favor. So, like something like this, if you see something like this, I might like it more taking it as a trendy day, like you know it's a big trendy day on it. So let's do the RH220s now. RH220. Yeah, sorry I'm not spending like 3 hours on each one. I'd like to get through them all so for as many examples. These ones, so definitely weekly, so you're looking for a quick move on those. Definitely opening flow today. My guess is this will probably carry over, but I just want to see how that looked here. So yeah, again, another good example here where you can see how that IV's up and then it drops. That flow moved in the correct direction. But like here, again, kind of a little nuanced example too. That bid ask is a little wider here. And you are coming at the ask, and then that spot price increases significantly, and that IV drops. So something like that. Again, kind of a coin flip on something like that. Obviously, the flow's making a good move right now. I mean, that's a really good move there on those. But yeah, like you can see, I mean, it's rules that I come up with that I have to go by, and obviously I'm throwing out flow for everybody too. So if they're not matching the rules fully, have to kind of be cautious about that. But yeah, so obviously again, hindsight is 2020 on this one where that IV dropped and that flow came up, but that spot increased as well too. So it again, kind of one of those coin flip ones. SATS 125 call for 116. Again, another one that made a great move intraday here. That's over 100% intraday move there. That's a good find. Yeah, definitely opening trade here. 2,000 contracts against 900 open at the time. 2,000 does not fit into there. So again, good example here where you don't have, and this one, when you look at it too, that spot price, what it's filling at, this is almost a mid fill here too. So it's not really an ask side fill. It's technically on the ask side more than the bid side, but this is a mid fill essentially. So this one would be a coin flip too, but again, you have that block trade, but you don't have anything in front of it to really analyze how that IV reacts, that spot price reacts, any of that there. And the flow you have right after that IV does decrease, and it is on good size and pretty decent premium. So in real time, I wouldn't take these just because of that. But again, hindsight's 2020. You can see massive move up on those too. And one more thing I'm going to look at here. So these came in at 949.45. So in here, yeah, and at the time, like you don't see a massive spike in that net call premium to really even help you. Like, now if this came in and that net call premium was jacked up like it is here and it's really high, okay, well maybe I'll take a little shot on it for a little intraday scalp or something. But the way it came in here, I wouldn't take that. So good find there though, but you're finding good examples where the rules don't always mean that it's not going to work out. So good example there. So we got one left here for you, SEI. 47.5p. So this one we got 1026 there, 1000 contracts there, and what's that? What's that little guy there? 12 there. So this one you would have to check open interest for sure on this one because you got the ask side candle and the bid side candle here. It's definitely opening flow today. But let's kind of look at our candles here and see if we can get an idea here. Let's see, was that our first trade? Yes, it is. So IV spikes, drops a little bit here, but it's only on one contract. So again, that's kind of another thing too. I like to see how many contracts it is. If it's one contract, not a huge deal. But now if it was like 389 and you saw that big IV drop, probably would kind of raise a red flag there for me. Just kind of following this up. So like that 88.80 there. So it's a good handful of contracts, and that bid ask is messed up here anyways. I would probably lean with that, and this one's kind of goofy too. Look at that. Look at those spreads there, how they're just kind of all over there. Yeah, this one's kind of goofy. I think the spread, and when you see spreads like that and they're kind of doing that 150 to 150 or really kind of goofy moves like that, that's something that should kind of raise a red flag too there. But you can see how that IV kind of drops here towards the end as well too. This one, yeah, a little tougher on that. And SEI, let's look at that bid side candle. So most of that comes off at the bid here. And it's almost, again, more of a mid-fill there too. Closer to the bid though, obviously. And this one, and this is, again, a screen time thing where I'm kind of looking at that 999 contracts and you have one extra contract there. If I'm a big whale and I'm opening a massive size position, am I going to open 999 contracts or am I going to probably open up 1,000? So again, kind of matching that up with the time there, I would bet you anything that this is the same person here. So you don't get a really clean read on that either, because if it's combined and it drops on one there, my guess is, what is this, 154? I wonder if this would be a good one to check to see if that open interest does carry over. But that original kind of where that IV's bouncing around and that bid ask is goofy, I'd kind of avoid something like that there. So let's see, what else do we got here? Let's see. So we got through. Okay, I'm just catching up on your message here. So once I can share my Instagram, I can. Who created the screener alert today? Blah, blah, blah. I think your screener's set up pretty good, but doesn't chunk mean. So it can mean it's good, Benny. I call it a block trade. You can call it a chunk trade, whatever you want to call it. But when it comes in like that, they might know something, but you just can't analyze that flow around it, kind of as we were doing earlier. See, yeah, no, you got to stick to your rules. That's a big thing there. What if we anything for my family? Good, you know. Yeah, and let me go. Let's build a filter here. Let's just build a filter in real time here. Let me go to my flow feed. So here's all the flow. Every single option contract coming in. You don't care about half of this stuff coming in here. Yeah, no, that happens too with the spreads. But so okay, let's make an ask side filter. We're looking for buying and calls and puts. So right away I'm going to take off that bid, take off that mid, take off that no side. So we're going to see only ask side calls and ask side puts. I like to see, let's do at least 60% ask side. So you can see it's starting to slow down already. Good sign there where you're starting to kind of weed out that flow. Now we want calls and puts. Let's get rid of ETFs, indexes, and ADRs. So we're going to only see stocks. So now let's do premium next. So you want to filter out the smaller premium, the premium you don't care about. Let's start at 50,000 here. So everything at least 50,000 here. And you can see how that flow feed really quieted it down now. So good sign there. And I mean, that's just doing a couple simple filters here. So let's do that here. And let's say we want to do, let's say you're looking for short-term trades. Let's do at least 15 days here. So we're going to do 15 days. So you're getting everything 50 days. So you can see how quiet that flow feed is now too. So let's say we want to see, because you don't care about 4 contracts coming in on something like this. Like this is junk. We're going to look at least 150 or volume on the trade here. Let's see, spot. Oh, I gotta get a drink here. Sorry. Oh, that was bad. Okay. So we want to have at least 150. And again, you can just scroll over here too, and it'll kind of give you little explanations too. So 150. Usually, I'll kind of keep that open a little bit there too. We don't want to see in the money, so let's do at least. Oh, I gotta do negative here. So negative. We don't want anything more than 5% in the money, not 5-0. We figured that one out on Friday. So you're getting mostly everything out of the money here. Looks good here, and I'm gonna actually get rid of that volume on this one. And so we're gonna keep sweeps. We don't want to see cross trades. We'll keep floor trades, normal trades, and keep that on. Let's make sure that size is greater than the open interest. So just kind of looking at here. So now, just because that size is greater than the open interest too, there can also be other volume on the day. So this XYZ, and it's a multi-leg trade, so just keep that in the back of your head. You can see a lot of this volume coming in here. We have 2,000 contracts originally coming in. That's going to flag after there for that, so that volume's greater than that open interest. So you just got to kind of look at that volume. You can't just strictly look, oh, look, that volume's greater than the open interest, it's a buy. No, you got to kind of go in and look at that. So let's just do single legs only, make it easy. Again, oh, we got a lot of MU puts coming in here. This might be kind of interesting. Let's actually look at these. So like here, you're getting a ton of volume here. So it's marking that as volumes greater than open interest. And it actually does that back here where you see this little exclamation point guy here. So that volume's greater than the open interest, but look at that volume on the day. It's not one single whale. So again, that's kind of why you got to go in and take a peek at that flow as well too, and it is 10% multi-leg. Let's see if I can find a good example here for you. So like, let's see, the BBYs here. Yeah, that's going to be a messy example here. So I mean, it's marking it as that volume is greater than open interest. Again, you got big volume candles on that contract throughout the day, so that's why it's marking it. Trying to find a good example here. So like these, the SNDK. Oh God, I'm not going to find a good example. I never find a good example in real time. I never do. So like the UALs here. This comes in and that volume's greater than that open interest. This one's good because it's all one whale here, and it's not that volume spread out across that entire contract. So that, I mean, that's just how I quickly would make a filter there. So let's take that off here. And yeah, I mean, I leave everything else pretty much wide open here. At least 50,000 premium. Again, you're not seeing a lot of flow here because it's only 15 days out. So this is shorter term flow essentially. But you're gonna miss out on, if you did like 90 days here, you're gonna miss out on a lot more flow as well too. So it just kind of depends on the type of trader you are too. If you're looking for a quick short-term move, shorter days to expiration. If you're long-term trader, looking at the longer-term expirations here, and like mine, I'll just pop my filters up here again too. I just leave it on that day. I just like to get it refreshed. It's just a mental thing for me. Like here, I'm in at least 70% ask side. Calls puts. I have ADRs and stocks on. I like to split up the ETFs from the actual like stocks, just because ETFs, you're a whole different animal there. And then I have 90,000, at least 500 size coming in here, so that whale trade will be at least 500 contracts. I leave everything else pretty much open, and I'm just in 10% for multi-leg. I mean, my filters are very, very basic, and I like the volume over open interest. I have out of the money only, aggregated trades, and essentially that just it highlights them. It makes it a little easier to kind of watch. I typically the trades that I post will typically be the aggregated trades, and that just means it's coming in all at that single time there too, and it groups them together there. Just a very quick example, but that doesn't mean like the Nike here. Oops. Okay, we'll do core weave here. Like the core weaves here. Like just because it's coming in here, I don't look at just this. I'm always still looking at that full overall flow feed can or raw flow candle, whatever you want to call it. So like these core weaves here. So IV pops. Let's just kind of go up here and look. Then you see it kind of decrease here at the end, pop, and then decrease again. I don't like those just because of that. Again, and getting some net call premium there too. A lot of put volume on the day. Put premiums are just bid side now. Yeah, like this. I mean, I'm not a fan of that. But yeah, what else do we got coming in today? Yeah, and if anybody has any other contracts they want me to look at here too before the bell, feel free to drop them. Let's see what else we got here. I'll look at the market tide too. Yeah, this is a pretty easy market tide to kind of pay attention to. I mean, you had that big spike in all call premiums here. Out of the money, everything else, put premiums pretty much flat on the day. Out of the money, call premiums have been kind of tailing off here. They are picking up back to that ask side now here. And yeah, I mean, you just haven't really seen a lot of traction in the puts getting picked up there, and that call volume's rising there too. And again, this is all call premiums, so this includes very deep in the money, very far out of the money versus just the out of the money is where it's out of the money only. And I mean, your MU, Crowd, Silver, Avgo are your contributors to that. Tesla's your contributor, then that put premiums, and you're still just not getting a lot of traction there. So do you suggest adjusting the spread filter so I don't get alerts that have big swings like mine did? Like, if you look at mine too, like look at my spreads here. I mean, you're getting wide spreads. You can't really avoid. I mean, like look at this, 5 cents to 420. That's I keep them on just so I can get an overview. Because if there's another, like let's say we had another NOVT come in right after here and the fill was 135 to 140, you know there's previous flow on it too as well. Not saying that this flow is good or anything, but it's just so you can kind of get that overall kind of market view. But yeah, I mean, like you can see my spreads are kind of jacked up too, and that's gonna happen. I like to kind of whittle down that data kind of so you're obviously not getting super junky flow, but you don't want to get it down so much where you're not getting any flow, if that makes sense. Like this fill here, like the 10 to 14, like it's essentially a bigger bid ask spread there, but you're not gonna miss out kind of looking at that. You might say, okay, well, there's some A, G, and C puts coming in. If you see them later on, you know there were some earlier in the day too. So, okay, let's see. SMY 20 February. Let's see. Let me pop this up. Close some of these, actually. Open them for no reason to close them 2 minutes later. Let's see. SMY 20 and... Do you... Oh, okay. I see what... Okay. So 80 call, 220 there. This one's pretty messy here. Pretty big multi-leg, 35% there too. Just kind of seeing what's going on. Opening, and it looks like we had some modifications in that open interest and volume as well too. When I see those modifications, typically that's just a reporting issue that when the contracts came in. So this isn't an unusual whales thing. This is just a reporting issue on what they were sent. Um, yeah, this one I don't really see a clear whale on this one. Let me just go back. And you can see how you have kind of some previous big spikes here as well too. You don't get that single nice big green candle or midside candle if you're looking for premium cells where you can kind of follow along. Like here, I don't know what's going on in here. I don't know what contracts are changing hands. I don't know if this was the original whale at 547 and they're getting out at 472 or 534 there. That's kind of why I like to look at those a little bigger size contracts there just so you can easily track them. Now, if this was an opener today, you'd be able to track that a little easier, but with all that kind of previous volume, it makes it pretty tough. And let's just go back 90 days. Yeah, for the most part here, it's a tough one there when you just don't have a lot of that previous. And I'm just kind of want to look at some of that here. So 208, so 1.5. So contracts got passed off at some point yesterday too, because you had 208 contracts traded and you had 36 drop off the open interest. So whoever had 200 contracts, somebody else owns them now. So it's again a lot of contracts kind of changing hands there too. So it makes it a little difficult there. So let's see. Yeah, no, it's just a tweaking thing with the filters. That's what unusual whales comes down to. It's just mostly filtering. So let's see. I zero trader once in a while, but yeah, it was an interesting move today in the market. I'll kind of have to look. There was so much flow coming in today. I didn't really get to look at like any internals in the market, but yeah, I mean that tide was pretty bullish here on the day for most of the part, especially early morning, but it kind of dropped off. Let's look at IWM. I didn't see how that really looked. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and just kind of looking tide-wise too, you weren't going to really get anything out of this at the time because I mean your call premiums are pretty flat and you're not seeing massive jumps in it. But obviously, end of the day here, like you see how that popped. That could have got your attention here if you're kind of watching this. Like you see a big massive jump there and then kind of still grinding up, and IWM still kind of trailing it, but now you're starting to kind of tail off a little bit too. Yeah, a lot of zero DTEs on this one. Obviously, anything ETF is going to have that. Let's just see. Let's do 70. Let's see. Let's do 35. Yeah, I mean, that's. Oh, I gotta fix that days to expiration. Give me a second here. I always pass the days to expiration every single time. Every single time. Here we go. Let's just do 15 days. Yeah, I mean that flow is pretty bullish here. I mean, you just kind of look at it from. I'm just picking up some of that good premium. I'll just do 100K here. I mean, call, 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 call. It's all calls here pretty much. So I mean that flow is pretty bullish overall on that all day. Let's see if we got anything else coming in here before close. Yeah, just so like when you see that block too. So like this is essentially most of the time it's going to be a block trade. So let's look at these, and it's probably not going to be one the one time I say it. And it's not. But so a big chunk of that is a block trade, but you see how we have that flow before it here. And this flow looks pretty good here, actually, now that we're looking at it. Timing's very similar. IV spikes when it comes in, 34.40. IV spikes here at the end. Spot price rises too a lot. So, like these, I like these. Amazon 310s, 163 days out, but these are going to overlap earnings. So maybe if you like Amazon long term, take something like that. But 163 days. These would go in the long-term flow. Actually, pop that in there because these look good. Yeah, and if you sit, and I mean, I've been using unusual whales since 2021. So I mean, I'm at, so there's what, 8:30, 6.5 hours of trading a day. Imagine 5 years of looking at this stuff, 6.5 hours a day. This is all you're doing. That's why it looks super easy, like when somebody else is doing it, but it's just a lot of watching, learning, just kind of looking and asking questions. Like Benny, you do a great job of asking questions. So I mean, that's what you have to do to learn. If you don't ask questions, you're not going to learn. That's the thing. And most of the time, like, it seems like it's going to be really, I mean, like, if you open this up and you don't have any filters on, you're going to see this, you're going to be overwhelmed. You have no idea what's going on. You have no idea where to start. And then, I mean, like, even if you start here, like, because they do have some, like, basic beginner filters here. I mean, even here, you're going to kind of, you could get overwhelmed a little bit too. I mean, just because there's so much coming in here. I mean, even within the last, like, look at all this coming in here. If you don't have the stuff set up properly and you don't know what you're looking for, you're going to, it can be overwhelming. So I mean, it's just kind of comes down to that filtering and everything there too. You have to. You have the Discord bot, Pipsy, for the. I've actually never used the Unusual Whales bot for, like, I'll use it like if I'm gonna pop in, like, um what you call it, in a, like, a calendar or something. But yeah, I'm not a fan of. I have to choose my words carefully here. I'm not a fan of not seeing the full picture, if that makes sense. Like, I need to see the full picture here. And Pipsy, yeah, I can get you 10% off too if you want to do it. So just let me know. But yeah, the bot is good. I think if you have Discord, like, the bot would be really good for us in here, but nobody uses it. Nobody even uses the free bot in here. So I'm like, I'm not gonna get the um, bot for something like that. And yeah, and Benny, like, if you saw the results, like, what, I don't remember. I think it was like 78%. We had 800 track trades last year and 600 were good. There's going to be bad trades, but nobody's going to be perfect. That's the thing. Even like Avgo today, like with our flow and chart setup, that's not working out so far. But again, you have some time on it. But like if we come in here, like, oh, I was like, oh god, it's pumping more. Like, oh, Avgo's dropped a lot. Holy, like, and you got to be patient with the stuff too. Like, just, you see stuff and you're like, it's not going my way. You start getting, God, I'm glad it's done almost. You start to get emotional and you're like, oh no, it's not working out. You just have to be patient and be robotic sometimes. Like, no, these are coming back down. And yeah, like this morning, I scalped these right open. I knew, I was like, there's no change in this. I like this. I scalped that. And that's the thing too. Like, my trading style is going to be a lot different because I'm managing everything in here too. So my trading style is going to be probably a lot quicker. And even like the VSTs, like these, absolutely beautiful move on these today too. And these will be in the flow recap. But I mean, that entry was that 172, I think 46 there. I mean, you could have. I mean, from that first one, even 172 down to that, I mean, it's a $5 move, and then you get a $9 move there. That's good. And these lines are just kind of where I had it marked off the based off my kind of setup there. So again, that's like the thing too. That's, don't shadow trade me all the time just because I might be in a trade for 5 minutes and the contract's could be 40 days out. I'm in a complete different situation than a lot of everybody else in here because I'm managing this and it takes time to write up all these data write-ups and everything. But all right, everybody, that's all I got for today. So thanks for joining. We'll have another one of these tomorrow as well too. So have a great evening, everyone.